Welcome to this tutorial. My name is Ian and I will be taking you through the tutorial. So far we've now got a bit of an understanding of how we can use Excel Copilot to be able to sort and filter. If you haven't seen the tutorial on that, please look out for it. In this one we're going to be looking at highlighting. So those of you who have used conditional formatting before probably know that you can format according to different rules, or you could use top 10, or you can even use icons, data bars, color scales, different elements. So in this tutorial we're going to be looking at how Excel Copilot can highlight and visualize your data. So please make sure that you like and subscribe the channel if you haven't done so far, just to keep up to date with all the latest videos. But let's jump into the tutorial. I will see you there. Welcome to this tutorial. In this tutorial we're going to continue to look at how we can use our Excel Copilot to be able to work with our data. Okay, so we're going to continue. We're using our browser version of Excel, so it's the online version of Excel. Please remember that you must have at least Copilot Pro to be able to access Excel Copilot. So you do need a licensed product. Okay, so we're going to continue from the previous tutorials, and we're going to just go back, and if you click on your Copilot up at the top, you'll get your Copilot pane that will come out. And you'll see one of the options that you can do is to be able to highlight your data according to specific rules. Now, in reality, what this is doing is really just using the same functions that conditional formatting does. So if you see what conditional formatting can do, it allows us to be able to highlight data according to specific rules. So we could find things that are greater than something, less than something, or text that contains something, or data curring. And you'll see a few other examples there. You can also look for items that are in the top or the bottom. And you can see then we do get some ability to be able to use data bars, color scales, and icons to be able to highlight our data. So in this tutorial, we're going to be looking to see how we can get Copilot to do that. Okay, so we're going to do the same sort of process as we've done previously. We're going to go down to Copilot and we're going to just be asking it questions and putting it into natural language. And hopefully from there, it will do what we're requesting. Just remember, when you're working with your data, it must be set as a table or else Copilot cannot work with it. Okay, so let's start with some examples. So if we look at some cell rules and we look at our customers, let's say, for example, we wanted to highlight all our customer names that begin with the letter M, and we want to make that in blue. So let's start off with that. So let's just tell it that we're going to highlight customer name in that begin with, in this case, it's going to be begin with M, and let's tell it we just want to see in blue. So highlight customer names that begin with M in blue. I'm going to send that, and as we've seen, sometimes it can take a little bit of time to work on it, and we might speed up the video. Okay, so there we got our result, and as you can see, our customer names beginning with M are indeed highlighted. Let's continue. Let's say, for example, in product names, we want to find all the product names that contain the word Xerox, and let's say we want to see that in yellow. So let's tell it to highlight all product names that, let's move the cursor a bit, and we're going to tell it that contain Xerox. I'm going to tell it to do that in yellow. Spell that correctly, there we go. And again, let's submit that. And again, we're going to see that it's going to go through the table, it's going to look for all the product names that have the word Xerox in it, and it will highlight that in yellow. And as you can see on the screen, it's done that. So we've got that. Let's look at another example. Let's actually look at some of our numeric fields. So let's say we want to actually format all of our sales figures that are higher than $1,000, and we want to put that in green. Again, same type of strategy. We're going to say highlight all sales, and in this case, let's say greater than 1,000, and this is going to be in green. Let's just put that in green. And again, I'm going to ask it to do that. And I think you're getting the way that we're working with this. Just put our question in, let it process the information. It's working out what the rules are that we're looking for. And as you can see, it's now applied that to our sales figures and put all of the values in green. Now we could tell it that we want to find all the values that are less than something and put that in red. Or we could tell it to go and find all the values between something, and it would also do that and would highlight according to those rules. But at this point, what I want to do is move on, and we're going to look at some different types of rules. So let's say, for example, what if we wanted to find our top 10 sales or bottom 10 sales? How would we go about that? So I'm going to start off, and what we're going to do is let's just clear this existing formatting. So let's tell it to clear the highlighting from the entire sheet. Okay, so we're going to say clear highlighting from the entire sheet. Send that. And basically, this is just doing the same as going to conditional formatting, saying clear rules from the entire sheet. And there we go. It's done that and cleared all the existing rules that we've got. Okay, so let's move on. And as we said, what we want to do now is to highlight, let's say, the top 10 sales in green. So again, same type of question. We're going to say highlight, but this time we're going to tell it top 10 sales. And this time we're going to say in green. Let's submit that. And there we go. As you can see, it's now highlighted the top 10. And again, we could tell it to find the bottom 10 and put it into red. But another option that we've got is that we often want to know what is the sales that make up, say, the top 20%. So let's see if we can get it to do that. Again, I'm just going to clear the rules, but this time I'm just going to do it manually. We'll just do it quickly there. Okay, so this time we're going to tell it to highlight sales that make up the top 20%. And let's say, again, we want that in green. Okay, so highlight sales that make up the top 20% in green. And there we go. We can now see that we've got the results, and it's highlighting all of the values that are making up the top 20% of the sales. And again, you could ask it from the other side. You could say that you would want it to show the bottom 20%. Another one you can do in conditional formatting that we could try here. Let's see if we can get it to highlight all the above average values. So we're just going to go and let's just clear the rules quickly. So let's say we want to highlight all above average values for sales. Again, let's submit that. And there we go. We can now see we didn't specify a color. So in this case, it's just actually used yellow as the default. So that gives you an idea of how you can find the top 10 or you can find the top 20%. And in this case as well, we've even highlighted the above average values. Now, another option that you've got is the ability to be able to use icons. So again, let's just quickly clear this, clear the rules. And let's go. And in this case, let's say we want to take our sales values and we want to apply a data bar. So let's say highlight sales with a data bar. And as you can see, it's now applied a data bar. It's actually used a green gradient as the default because I didn't specify anything. So if I wanted to specify what I wanted to use, let's say we said highlight sales with a solid blue data bar. So let's be more specific this time. And let's submit that. And there we go. We've now actually got, it looks like actually still a gradient and not a solid, but it is changed color. So not quite perfect, but maybe it's the way I phrased the question. As you can see here, it actually tells me that it's created a data bar conditional formatting with gradient blue. Okay, so it didn't work perfectly. But let's continue. Let's have a look at another type that we can do. We can use a color scale. So let's tell it to highlight the order quantity with a color scale. And let's specify the colors. And we're going to tell it to, with a color scale, using blue for highest value. And let's say yellow for lowest. So we're going to just submit on that and send it through. So as you can see, it's now applied the color scale to the order quantity. Another one we can do is we can actually use icons. And if you go to your conditional formatting, what you will see is that these icons have got different names. So over here we have something called the 3 traffic lights. So let's tell it to highlight the profit using the 3 traffic lights. So we're going to say highlight profit using 3 traffic light icons. And let's submit on that one as well. And there we go. We can now see that our traffic lights have been applied to our profit value. So the high values have got a green one, lower values have got a red one. So there we go. That's a tutorial basically showing us how we can use the Excel Copilot, how to apply highlighting to our table of data. Hope you've enjoyed the tutorial. So please join me with the next tutorials that we're going to be doing, and also keep a lookout for any new tutorials we provide.